birthday present. When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium. When I grow up, I want to be a warm place on a cold day. I grow up, I want to be a fancy basketball. I want to be a bike that races around.
The camera's not.
I want to be a bench on a forest. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch. I want to be a skyscraper. I want to be.
Do something with it?
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Academy.
Shot and killed by police in Memphis, a suspect in a pair of morning shootings. After what's being described as a confrontation, one of two responding officers...
Hey guys, thank you for joining us on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube. We're about to start Real Estate with Ryan's show here in a few minutes. We've got a good show for you. We're talking about real estate contracts. So when you find your dream home in this competitive market, it's things you need to have in your contract that make sense and contingencies that you must put in there. So that's what the show's about. Once you find the home, the devil's in the details. We're going to be talking about how to write your contract, contingencies that you must have in the contract. We're going to cover it here, Real Estate with Ryan. Sorry about that. We'll be live in a few minutes. Thank you guys for staying with us.
I brought the Dave Ramsey book in there, if you want to go ahead and give that away.
I did. Appreciate it.
Your wallet will be worthless.
If you have a Toys R Us gift card, use it up in-store as the bankrupt chain that's preparing to close all of its U.S. stores says gift cards will expire at midnight tonight. Though it appears that Toys R Us may not have been prepared for mass gift card redemptions. Some customers have taken to Twitter blasting Toys R Us, which has said that computer glitches have declined some gift cards.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. Keep in mind all sales are final. Pam Fusel, Fox News Radio.
Are you thinking of buying or selling your home? Downsizing? Upsizing? Investing? Are you relocating? Do you want to know your local market conditions? Are you behind on payments? Are you looking for improvement tips? Or what if your home didn't sell? This is Real Estate with Ryan, your hometown expert and trusted source for the most up-to-date information. And now your host, Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well on a Saturday, and thank you for joining Real Estate with Ryan. In case you guys don't know me, I'm Ryan Coleman, Hometown Realty owner, along with my lovely co-host, April Coleman.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on a Saturday. We've got a good show for you. As the market picks up, as the housing market is continuing to climb, one of the biggest things we talk about is obviously getting your home on the market, finding that dream home. But when you do that, what's the devil in the details? What's that contract? What all goes into the offer, and how do we secure it and get it off the market? So today we're going to talk about the contract, what goes into your purchase contract, and some tips that you must have, some things that you need to have. Number one, you're always going to need a great agent help you writing that contract and preparing you and guiding you through the process. But whether you're buying new construction or maybe you don't have us as an agent as well, these are things that you definitely want to go through. So we're going to cover that on Real Estate with Ryan. What kind of housekeeping issues do we have, April?
Well, I have a couple of houses that have hit the market. 3805 Valley View Drive, 7631 Sevierville Pike, and 2092 Lakewood Drive. And we have more coming soon. And we just pended Gates Lane out in Kodak, and we just closed Wooddale and Gilbert. So congrats to them.
Busy week, and some congratulations to our clients. Definitely very excited for them. We closed 2 or 3 on Friday, and they couldn't be more happier.
That's right.
One of our clients was, it was one of those houses, he said, we so glad to see it go. Mm-hmm. I said, why do you say that? He said, you know, I got remarried. We both had divorces. We came through a bad past. And this is just one of the things that we're so excited to get that done and start on with their new house and start with their new life. So he was just so excited. It's such a joy to work with great people every week or every month that we're dealing with and help them through the process. It really makes it exciting. You ask, why do we do what we do? Obviously, we deal with all walks of life, different types of clients, different strokes, different folks, right? There's all kinds of different things going on out there. But it really makes it gratifying to get those customers when you put in all that hard work. They're happy, they leave the closing table, and they're just thankful for what we do and what we bring to the table. And we enjoy working with people like that. That makes our job fun. There's always part of the job that maybe you like or you don't like. Nobody likes putting up signs or doing paperwork or stuff like that. At least I don't. But helping them and going to the closing table and seeing them accomplish their goals and seeing where they're going is really exciting. So before we get going, and we'll get on our rant, listen, we're live in the studios. Yes, Talk Radio 92.3 FM, AM 760. Guys, we're streaming on several channels out there. If you can't get us, we're on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitter. So have your notifications on, share the stream. Any questions you've got, we're live in the studios, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-TALK, number 888-8255. And we got a little giveaway coming up on the second part of the show, so stay tuned. We'll talk about going into the break, but we'll get kind of right into the topic. Number one, most important thing in the contract is the deposit is very, very important. Most contracts that are written, they're going to have something called earnest money or escrow. All right. For guys that have do a lot of real estate, think of it as a security deposit on your rental or a home that you've rented or a deposit to hold something off the market. Now the escrow deposit, if you're dealing with realtors, builders, or anybody that's licensed, are going to go into an escrow account. Escrow accounts are held kind of basically as fiduciaries, and they're separate accounts, basically your money. And it sits there till you close, or if it doesn't close, per the terms of the contract. Per the terms of the contract are why it's important that you understand what you're signing. This is a real estate show. So for full disclosure, I'm a real estate broker, so I can talk about real estate. I'm not an attorney, so if we get into the weeds and you get into that, it's always good to talk to an attorney about those specific legal details. But as far as real estate, the things that we cover is most contracts are going to require that deposit, and with that deposit, usually it could be expenses. It could be as little as $500. It could be $100,000. We just did one that was over $1 million in escrow. So a lot of money on the escrow. Again, that applies to your purchase price. Understand what happens if you don't close. Understands if the contract's written correctly, that if something that you're not happy with the inspection, that you can actually get that money back.
Exactly. And also, to bring up a good point that both parties for the realtor on both the buyer and the seller side should keep up with when that earnest money is turned in, and make sure they get a copy to prove that it was turned in. Just because we have some situations that, it was due on Saturday, but they haven't received it. It's supposed to go to the title company. We're not really sure. Wishy-washy back and forth, and then, the contract is, voided because they didn't turn in their escrow.
And that's important. You definitely don't want the contract voided because the agent or the buyer didn't know to turn the contract in, and therefore they lose the house.
Right.
So understanding the contract has certain things into it. This is not the fun part, but the most important part, we're going to start with the escrow deposit, because if you're not advised properly, if we don't walk you through that process, then there's an opportunity that you could lose your escrow or that home that you're looking for. As the market picks up, guys, and that there's multiple offers that we're dealing with our sellers and helping them find the perfect home, preparation is very, very important. Your contract has to be strong, you have to have a good earnest money deposit, and you have to make sure you have certain provisions in there. So number one, you don't lose the home, but number two, you're not signing something that you're not even aware of what you're signing.
Right, and I think also we were talking about even before you put pen to paper, or as we do electronic signatures a lot, and sign your name on the computer, that you should read through the purchase and sale agreement to make sure, as a buyer and a seller, and because there are some provisions in here that maybe as a buyer you're really excited about buying that house and you just want to get in there and sign your signature and get it over there so you can know immediately if you get it or not. But I think that you need to read and make sure that you understand the purchase and sale contract and what all it entails, because I think a lot of people don't understand that they need to put down escrow money or how much they need to put down, and sometimes they're caught off guard. So a lot of people just need to, you know, be coached in that area and let them know, hey, these are the things. So that's why we're going through that today, so that you'll know. And also another point is for the sellers, you also need to read what they've asked for, what they haven't asked for, what they expect for you to remove from the home, and what they expect for you to leave.
So I think we're getting into that. So, you know, number one, I think you and I were talking off air about our property disclosure, making sure that we have, if we have a property disclosure, does that apply, or is it an exemption? So, do you want me to get right into that? Or?
Sure.
So in this state, either you lived in the property for 2 or 3 years and it's your primary residence, and you're required to disclose as much as you know about it. First and foremost, if you own the property, if you know something's defective, that roof is leaking, things like that, seller, you've got to disclose it. Right. When in doubt, we're always going to tell you disclose it, because what you don't want to do is sell the property a couple of years down the road and we get some litigious lawyer that wants to, you know, file a lawsuit for you for any specific thing. While we're talking about it in writing, always keep it in writing. So that's never an issue. So check your property disclosures. If there's an exemption, guys, there's not going to be much history. If it's a short sale, or if it's a foreclosure, if it was an estate sale, or it was an investment property that we see routinely, they don't know anything about the property and they're not required to do that. So I think also from there, make sure you get your purchase price. Understand what you're paying for the property and how much your escrow deposit will come through. We're about to come up on a break. When we come on the other side of the break, I got one of Dave Ramsey's great books. It's the Total Money Makeover. My friend Dave Ramsey, Get Out of Debt. We're going to give that away to the third caller when we get back in. 865-888-TALK, 865-888-TALK. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan. Stay tuned. Hey, you guys, make sure you call in out there. Dave Ramsey's book, third caller, we're going to give it away. It's a good book. You know, Dave's about no debt. It's actually really, really good. I've read 3/4 of it, and as you know, we're an ELP as well. But some good stuff, good solid principles that Dave gives that you just can't miss. And so, third caller, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-TALK. And you got a real estate question, give us an answer, give us a question you've got going on, think about putting your home on the market, make sure that you give us a question. Try to answer it here. Thank you guys for staying tuned.
If you've ever received a quote from another company, you owe it to yourself to call King Pure Water. Get the best tasting water you've ever had. No more buying bottled water or running around those big 5-gallon jugs. If you'd rather rent a system, you can do that for about $1 a day. King Pure Water, 266-9566.
I'm going to carry it from the purchase price, and then we'll go into that.
King Pure Water.
Every year, Steve Faircal climbs the stairs of the John Hancock Center in Chicago, 94 floors to the top.
It's called the hustle up the Hancock.
It's hard to believe when you watch Steve today that a few years ago, his lungs were failing and he was fighting to survive.
For 8 hours a day, someone was pounding on my chest to try and keep my lungs clear. I honestly don't think I had more than a couple weeks to live.
That's when Steve received the
Is this in the way?
A double lung transplant
Is that better?
possible by an organ donor.
After I got my new lungs, I started
Is that blocking you?
things that I had never been able to do. I never knew that breathing could feel this good.
Steve climbs to honor his donor and
Is that
raise
better?
awareness for organ, eye, and tissue donation.
Is that better?
Like that when you left this beautiful planet.
Oh, that's much better now.
Save a few lives on your way out. It's an incredible gift.
Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
That's what it is.
We're talking real estate with Ryan Coleman of Hometown Real Estate.
Join the conversation on the Pure Magic Hotline at 865-888-TALK.
Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
We're back, guys. Thank you for staying with us. As I was saying prior to going into the break, make sure you get Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover. It's amazing. Has a lot of information in there about how you can keep more of your money in your pocket, and just kind of plain sense, common sense, keeping more money in your pocket And so you've got more money to invest in some real estate.
That's right.
Good investment there. So 865-888-TALK. Third caller in is going to get Dave Ramsey's book. So as we're going back into the show, talking about purchase price, how that's important, make sure we cover the purchase price. You know how much you're paying, and know the purchase price does not include closing cost.
That's true.
And we won't get into the closing cost for this second, but it's the purchase price, and there is something that you may have closing costs with every purchase, as your title fees, appraisals, recording fees. And so make sure that could be an additional 2 or 3% of the sales price.
Right.
So guys, for example, if you're buying $200,000, your closing cost, if you're getting a loan, could run $6,000 to $7,000. A lot of money, so don't be caught off guard. Make sure your agent's giving you a breakdown. Make sure your lender's giving you a breakdown, and go through all your costs, called your cash to close, so you don't come up short at closing.
That's right. And then you can always ask for that. So you can ask for the purchase price and then your closing cost, which the total closing cost will come off the purchase price. So that's how the seller will look at it. That it's the, your asking price less than the closing cost.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think you were mentioning something I think that's so important. So we have some contracts that are, they're state generated, they're TAR forms. So a lot of your contracts that you're going to see are specific for our, the agents here in the area. And so we're going to go off that. Full disclosure, if the contract is not a boilerplate, that's what we talk about, getting legal advice, or make sure, as April was saying, take your time to review it, go through it, and understand what's in there. Because we're going to go over our contract and what's kind of general, what you'll see 90% of the market out there, but it does not mean that that's in there, and there could be some modifications.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
So this is for residential.
Residential real estate. We're not getting into commercial or land right this second.
Right. So this is, and we actually had we were working with a seller, and in the contract, this is what it says. We were working with the buyer, I'm sorry, and as he was purchasing, this is what it said in the contract. All attached light fixtures and bulbs, including the ceiling fans, permanently attached plate glass mirrors, heating, cooling, plumbing fixtures and equipment, all doors, storm doors and windows, all window treatments, shutters, blinds, shades, curtains, draperies, and hardware. And so, the seller took all of her curtains and hardware and everything else and did not, I guess, read in the purchase and sale agreement. And then when we did our walkthrough, they noticed that all of the curtains were gone and they were supposed to leave them. So then that became an issue because it was in the contract. And so, they had to work out something prior to closing.
I'll take my curtains, man. Why are you taking my curtains?
I know, some people don't care because it's not their style or, they don't want the curtains or whatever. But, just remember that is in there.
Hey guys, Mama don't play with the curtains now. So, you're trying to take her curtains, end up blowing the sale. I've watched people say, hey, you're not getting my curtains.
Yeah, that's what
So, we're telling these little things, they sound minor, but they're not minor when you're walking through and you've got the moving truck packed. And then, before you know it, we're trying to calm everybody down over some curtains. Exactly. And some of our luxury properties, you got that. We've got one of our properties, we got $50,000 in curtains and dressing. So it sounds minute, but it's not minute when you get into the higher priced properties, or some of the custom is not cheap. So
or anything,
yeah,
it's just not cheap. So these are just some things that are in here that you have to know that you just cannot take out of the property unless you put it in writing.
I think one of the things real important, April, and I didn't mean to kind of jump in there on that, but guys, we love our TV. We got to take our TV. Football time. They've got now in there the bracket for the TV.
Yes, TV mounting brackets, but excluding flat screen TVs.
Yeah, they're not taking your TV, but they take the bracket that holds it. Yes. So then I've got to go out and get a new bracket for my big old TV. So remember they're trying to take your bracket and your curtains, guys.
So they know.
Get the bracket and the curtains. So
yeah, so there's just a lot more to go with this. Not to go into detail.
Listen, you never have to worry with us. We're going to cover you, and that's why it's less stress over here. Hometown Realty. April and I will walk you through the process. You never passed off. We're going to take care of you from start to finish. We've got an amazing team over at Hometown Realty that actually cares. It's giving back and really understand it's a big purchase. And every transaction is so important, like it's our own, and that's how we treat you. And so you never have to worry about these details. But just in case you don't use us or you have a question out there, you're working in a present deal, it's important to know these, or your future purchase coming up. So that's why we wanted to cover those. Legal description, we'll kind of get through these topics quickly. Legal description, very, very important. I think more importantly now is if you have some lots, extra lots, we see all the time that it comes with an extra lot. Add your legal description. The legal description is another form of an address, but it's recorded at the courthouse, and make sure we cover all that. Settlement and possession date. When are we closing? Look, all contracts in this state that are generated by our TAR, sorry, tongue-tied there, TAR, Tennessee Association of Realtors. Its time is of the essence. What that means is this, guys, and I think this is probably settlement and possession date is the biggest thing. How many days do I have to get out?